Breaking news! The pressure is on behind the scenes for the Browns, and I have some important updates to share with you today. We all know this offseason has been intense already, but trust me, what I just learned in the last few hours could change the narrative of the entire season. Before I tell you all, like this post if you've been a Browns fan for 15 plus years. It's always inspiring to see fans of all generations holding their ground. And if you feel that brown and orange energy in your soul, comment, "Go Browns, my heart bleeds brown and orange." Well, let's get right to it. When the Cleveland Browns kicked off their mandatory minicamp, all eyes were on the practice field, the reps, the drills, the chemistry. But the spotlight? It's shifting. It's focused on the quarterback room, cramped, crowded, and packed with 4 names each fighting for a single chance. And right now, it's not Deshaun Watson who's causing a stir. It's Joe Flacco. Flacco, the 40-year-old Super Bowl MVP who found unexpected love in Cleveland last season after breaking out mid-season and reviving a flagging offense. Flacco, who walked into the locker room with his usual icy cool and dropped bombs like it was 2012 all over again. But here's the thing, as much as he's become a fan favorite, there's a growing sense that he might not even make the roster in 2025. Why? Let's follow the clues. Bleacher Report's Alex K dropped a subtle bomb this week, tucked into an article about veterans on the chopping block after the Packers' decision to part ways with star corner Jaire Alexander. He made a case that might haunt Browns fans. Joe Flacco could be next. Now, this isn't just media speculation. The Browns quarterback room is more loaded than it's been in years. Kenny Pickett, freshly traded from Pittsburgh, is here with something to prove. Rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, 2 dual-threat, high-upside prospects, are turning heads. According to K, this 4-way QB battle leaves little room for sentiment. Unless Cleveland plans on hoarding quarterbacks, someone is getting cut. And if Flacco doesn't win the battle, and make no mistake, he's fighting for his job, he could be the odd man out. But that's not all. Let's remember, this isn't unprecedented. Last offseason, the Browns carried 4 quarterbacks into training camp and ended up flipping Josh Dobbs to Arizona. Could a similar deal be brewing? Could Flacco, or even Pickett, be on the move if another team suffers an injury during the preseason? It's not just possible, it's probable. Still, Flacco's fan support runs deep. He brought stability, leadership, and big play ability to a team in desperate need last year. But at 40, with limited upside and the front office looking toward the future, hard questions have to be asked. Can the Browns afford to spend a valuable roster spot on a player whose best days are behind him when young, hungry talent is knocking at the door? Meanwhile, there's another storm brewing on the opposite side of the ball. Myles Garrett is circling, and he's got a new target in his sights, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, the 4-time MVP and new quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Garrett didn't mince words during minicamp. Speaking to reporters, he said he's ready to put Rodgers in the cemetery. Now before you panic, no, he didn't mean it literally. But Garrett's Halloween persona, the Reaper, with tombstones of quarterbacks he sacked, makes the metaphor all too vivid. Rodgers, despite his legendary status, has never been sacked by Garrett. Not once. The only time they met was Christmas 2021, when Rodgers outdueled the Browns and walked away with the win. But this year, that changes. Rodgers is now in the division. Garrett will face him twice, Week 6 and Week 17. And after a 2024 season where Garrett notched 14 sacks and became the youngest player in NFL history to reach 100, there's no question. He's hungry for more, and he wants Rodgers on his list. But it's not just about one-on-one matchups. It's about legacy. Rodgers has taken 571 sacks in his NFL career. Garrett wants to be number 572, maybe 573, maybe more. This isn't just bravado. It's personal. Garrett is building a Hall of Fame career in real time, and Rodgers represents a milestone he's yet to hit. And for Browns fans, the thought of watching Garrett bring down Rodgers in a primetime AFC North clash, that's cinematic. That's the kind of moment you remember. But the tension in Cleveland doesn't end there. Let's talk about that wide receiver room. It's messy. Behind newly acquired Jerry Jeudy, things start to get murky. Deontay Johnson, once explosive, now a wild card. Cedric Tillman, promising, but inconsistent. Jamari Thrash and DeAndre Carter, unproven slot options. This room doesn't scream contender. It whispers work in progress. Andrew Berry has kept his cards close, but eyes are turning toward Houston, specifically toward John Mechie III. A former second-round pick, Mechie battled leukemia in 2022, played a limited role in 2023, and only started to show flashes of his potential last year with 254 receiving yards and a touchdown. But Houston's wide receiver room is suddenly overcrowded, and Mechie might be the odd man out. Here's where it gets interesting. Mechie played 254 of his 467 snaps out of the slot last season. That's exactly where Cleveland needs help. He's young, cheap, and has upside. The Browns, tight on cap space, are in a position to take a calculated risk, and Barry already has a trade history with Houston. Could another deal be on the horizon? And now, finally, we arrive at the emotional core of this offseason, Nick Chubb. There was no press conference, no tears in front of cameras. Just a quiet statement from D and Jimmy Haslam, posted on X, thanking Chubb for 7 unforgettable seasons. His stats tell part of the story: third all-time in Browns history with 6,843 rushing yards, 51 touchdowns for straight 1,000-yard seasons. But the real legacy? That's in moments, like stepping out of bounds at the 3-yard line in 2020 to secure a win, sacrificing personal glory for team success. That's Chubb. That's Cleveland. The Haslams ended their statement with a promise: Nick Chubb will be honored in the team's Ring of Honor. And for fans, that honor feels both deserved and deeply bittersweet. This is where we'll pause. But the story's far from over, because if the first half of this story was the setup, what comes next is the twist. Let's zoom back into the quarterback drama, because that battle is anything but resolved. While the focus has hovered over Joe Flacco's uncertain future, the real intrigue might be hiding in plain sight. Kenny Pickett, that's right, the former first-rounder from Pittsburgh who's now wearing orange and brown after the Browns sent a low-risk trade offer to a division rival. The move sent shockwaves through the AFC North, and it still begs the question: is Pickett the guy they really want, or just a bridge to the next generation? Pickett is just 26, younger, mobile, and with 2 years of starting experience under his belt, albeit a rocky run with the Steelers. He never quite won the hearts of Pittsburgh fans, and inconsistencies under center led to a loss of trust in that organization. But in Cleveland, he's been handed a second life, a fresh start. Still, what's fascinating here is that Pickett might not even have a guaranteed spot if one of the rookies goes nuclear during camp. Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders aren't just camp bodies. They're wild cards with star potential. Gabriel, out of Oklahoma, brings a cerebral style of play and pinpoint accuracy, while Sanders, yes, that Sanders, son of Dion, has a cannon for an arm and the swagger to match. This competition could get fiery fast. And that brings us to a brutal truth. The Browns could make another trade, just like Josh Dobbs last year. Don't rule out Pickett being flipped before week 1. It sounds unthinkable, right? But if you're Andrew Berry and you're thinking 3 years ahead, not just one, you might be looking to secure an asset while his value is still intact. Especially if one of the rookies flashes enough potential to back up Deshaun Watson. Speaking of Watson, let's not forget this quarterback room still orbits around his gravitational pull. The Browns paid a historic price to bring him in, and while injuries and inconsistency have marked his time in Cleveland so far, he remains the de facto starter. But the leash isn't infinite. If Watson struggles early in the season, expect the noise around his job security to reach deafening levels. Now let's bring it back to the receivers again, because what's a quarterback without someone to throw to? Jerry Jeudy might be the WR1, but this isn't a WR1 room yet, not by a long shot. And if Andrew Berry is truly serious about maximizing Watson's window, another move feels inevitable. Let's revisit John Mechie 3. There's something poetic about the idea of Mechie finding a rebirth in Cleveland. After battling leukemia and spending much of his first 2 NFL seasons fighting just to get on the field, his 2024 season finally gave a glimpse of the dynamic playmaker he was at Alabama. He's not just a feel-good story. He's got the tools, smooth route running, great hands, and that slot versatility Cleveland is desperate for. And Houston? They're stacked. Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Nico Collins. It's a logjam, and Mechie might be on the outside looking in. For the Browns, this is the perfect moment to swoop in. Low risk, high ceiling, Mechie fits the mold of the players Barry likes to gamble on, underappreciated, undervalued, and with something to prove. Remember, this is the same front office that made the Watson deal with Houston. That line of communication is already open, and if Barry can snag Mechie for a day 3 pick,